Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Back to episode 3 in our Zero to Hero series with the worst ranked Mythic Plus class, the Shadow Priest in Dragonflight Season 3. Here we're just taking a quick breakdown of where we are so far, what we've done, and this video is going to have the next couple dungeons all at 10s or 11s as we continue to go through the class and learn its mechanics. Just going to do a little stat breakdown before we start. Currently I have my critical strike at 23%, haste at 27%, and mastery at 16%. I got an item level of 460. Now these stats are fine. I think our haste could be a little higher and mastery as well. We'd want to run critical strike if we were doing the spirits build so that we can get more spirits to come out as they have an increased chance of activating as you get more critical strikes. But currently the recommended talents from the episode 2 are the same ones that we're using from Wowhead that's recommended at this time, and they don't really use critical strike. They're more focused on the haste and mastery portions where we get that additional cooldown reduction, dot ticking, and the extra damage from the mastery. Well, our first dungeon is going to be a 12 Waycrest Manor. I've been lucky enough to get invited to a group that has a Demon Hunter at 471, which, especially since they are a meta class, is going to likely top the meters, especially on our first pull where I can only get off so many attacks before he obliterates everything. Topping around 145, 150, and he's at 200,000. Ultimately, I got up to about 190,000 DPS, and he was at 240. So, not really comparable, but again, we're 460 item level, so we might have been able to catch him had we been up there a little bit better. Now, I'm doing better getting my spells in order. I'm finally getting my Shadow Fiend out with the Dark Ascension, and utilizing the two of them together to get that extra damage increase, just throwing me here on top of the pack and the 2 or 3 monster pulls. Hopefully we'll speed through this dungeon, especially with him and myself kind of carrying the pack here. The only bad part about the Shadow Priest here as far as utility goes, and is likely why they're in the D or D minus or whatever kind of label you want to put on them, is that they don't have a lot of utility for the class. Now, you might have noticed a little something in the background there. I may have been a little elated as I was topping the charts, and you know, that's just my inner me coming out. So don't mind me as I cheer myself along, where I'm actually taking out this Demon Hunter as he's at 471 item level, and I'm 460. I guess was pretty thrilled in the background there. Now, I'm not sure if he just forgot what buttons he needs or has, but if you can't tell on screen, somebody, aka me, used the Murloc toy in order to get our nice little monument out and summon all of the Murlocs, and we are currently playing this as Murlocs. So we'll go through here, the first boss, and we'll kind of skip forward, save some time, and gather in the rest of these dungeons, just see how we do. Now, again, the single target here, he's doing much better than me, even after my nice polite cheer. As I sink to 30,000 DPS, that's pretty abysmal. And I think a lot of it has to do because I was doing AoE here, especially when the sisters take reduced damage when they're not the one that's targeted with the iris. So, what I was lucky to have, so that you still have that healing trinket on, because I haven't been able to actually get the skittering vessel up at this point. And I wanted to get that out and go in and see if I could compare it better with the Caged Horror. I know the Caged Horror's been doing really well, and is currently what I've got equipped here with the healing trinket. Now, at least I have a flat stat bonus there for the healing trinket, and it helps me out get in, cover up all of the extra damage I do to myself when I start Shadow Worth deathing things. Now I've actually turned it around. If you can't see here on the side, I'm running over 59,000 DPS, around 60k DPS. A lot of it having to do in this execute window where we're getting the Shadow War deaths. You know, it just occurred to me, I never thought to finish my sentence from earlier. Part of me being labeled as the D class is that there's not a lot of utility that we can bring as far as stuns can go. And wow, I am still very happy. Okay, I don't know where that came from, but I'm just extraordinarily elated to have this in there. So, well, good for me. I hope I can keep up that enthusiasm as we go through this. Um, every time I try to talk about utility, I end up cutting myself off from my past self. But as far as that goes, the best thing we can do really to help out is to use our fears, or if you can waste a talent point, or maybe not waste, or utilize another talent point to get the 15-second reduction on the silence. That's great, but still, it's only a 30-second interrupt. Or I'm sorry, a 4-second silence with a 30-second cooldown, whereas it's 45 otherwise. You really got to rely on other people to kick for that. I guess you can also go for a stun in the utility section of the tree, but it really takes up a lot of the damage that we're using. So we'll have to keep looking into that as we move forward to our journey to Keystone Hero, and hopefully we can actually get that done in a way without being a hindrance on everybody else. All right, let's fast forward here to the end boss and see how we're faring. All right, as we come into Gorak-Tul, placing to rest again. Hopefully, throughout the dungeon, we have done some works of magic, some of that nice shadow magic, to get myself ahead of the game. It sounds like my burst starts off pretty slow as I got to ramp up everything. Even come in here having just gone through that last pack, and I don't have power infusion up, and I don't have my mind bender. It's going to really take away from some of my damage, and it's already at half health, so it's going to be kind of tough for me to catch up on this one, but we'll see what I can do. I went and PI'd that demon hunter, try to give him a chance to catch up to me in overall damage. Hopefully we'll see where we ended up at the end of this, but with 30k left, we try to beat him out here. We're neck and neck at 110,000, 113,000. Hopefully this execute phase will send me into the top. He is kind of pulling away, but the Murloc power, I have faith. I have faith we can catch up. 20,000 is too big of a gap. I guess we couldn't. However, let's see what our overall is at the end. Look at that. Overall, 121,000 for me, 114 for the Demon Hunter. That's 11 item levels higher. And man, we did great this one. And apparently I was very happy. We did it so quickly, in fact, that we're all still Murlocs at the end.
We've done it.
Alright, well now we're on to the Everbloom. We have an 11 with the group here you see on the screen. Hopefully this other priest, our Demon Hunter tank, we have a nice little mage and a warrior. We'll try to speed through this one too, just to get the rest of these 10s and 11s done. We'll get the first couple packs and some of the last boss, just to give, I guess, the overall impression here that we're completing these in a timely manner. Now, looks like we have somebody here, our warrior, who has the legendary that everyone seems to have, except for the people who keep trying to get it, as is everything else in the world. But he is demolishing the charts, hitting up to 270,000 there, while I am getting stunned by silliness. I'm getting the rotation down. I am keeping myself alive. Apparently, not everyone got to stay alive, though. Looks like we did have a nice first stat there on that first pull, but I kept up pretty well at 165,000 DPS. The mage at 170, or just above me. 165, 170, somewhere in that area. And then, of course, the warrior who is demolishing everything with this axe and his armor. Excuse me. Decided to spent a lot of time getting over a little bit of a cold. Well, I topped out on that one. I actually did better. I don't know if that's just because he's trying to get it to redo himself, to regroup himself from where he was, and the embarrassment that I just showed him. But we'll see what happens in these next coming packs. Finally got my Mindbender up. Hopefully I can get it out a couple times. Now it's good even when you have your Mindbender to actually go and throw out even your Shadow Word Deaths in a scenario like that, because it makes the Mindbender attack again. And it's actually throwing me above him on some of this damage there, so a lot of that is my Psychic Link doing that extra AoE damage. So it's good. It's good. It's really good to get those extra hits in. And I think that's where Void Torrent comes from, and also provides that Psychic Link. But I guess I either neglected it there, or it just wasn't a cooldown time. Alright, well now he's up at 380,000. What in the heck? Fire Mage doesn't stand a chance. His Flame Patch just can't even get out there. Oh, his is just the bleeds. His Thunderous Roar.
He will awaken.
See, my one silence was good, and then all of a sudden I got stunned. So it's good that the Demon Hunter's able to use his sigils to keep us all safe, keep us from being stunned. Or there. Now I don't really have anything to use against that. I could use a Fear to kind of disrupt them for a second, but it's kind of dangerous in dungeons. Don't want to be pulling extra monsters. Alright, we got a good rotation down though. You know, Shadow Crashes into Devouring Plagues, into Mind Blasts. I'm using my Shadow Spikes when I can, and getting off all of those nice Shadow Word deaths. It's actually elevated me there to the top.
We have not yet purified.
Maybe I can keep this up throughout the whole dungeon. I can actually feel proud of myself. Maybe not as gleeful as I was in the first one there, as I was giggling and shouting to myself while I was playing, but I'm just going to get stunned into a stun, so maybe a quick ping will help. Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? Nobody? Okay, well, 10 full seconds of stun, and I still was on top. That's disappointing, guys. Come on. You know, I'd feel bad if I were them, but that's okay. I guess they're saving all their cooldowns for the boss. Now, a lot of people actually in hierarchies pull all the little monsters up there while we wait for him to do his RP stuff here. Clearly in an 11, I don't think we're going to need that. We'll blow through this and head on over to the last boss and see if I can continue to stay on top of Ramsey. I don't know how well that's going to turn out because he is kicking my behind. And I'm saving, though, my Dark Ascension, my Mindbender, and my Power Infusion for the Brittle phase, which I think is a helpful tip for everybody, as he takes increased damage there anytime he's not a porous tree. He's the opposite of Oakheart, obviously, from our first episode. Okay, well, I don't know if I would have lusted there, but that's alright. Look at that, 336,000. But is that going to be enough to win? Okay, 190 for him, 157 for me. Maybe with these ads I can get something else. But see, now I gotta move and attack to spread out all those vines. You know, caster life problems. Can I do it? 200,000? Oh, he beat me just by a second. Alrighty, let's see how we're doing on Yanlu. Well, I think we're probably going to be in second at the end of this. The warrior still seems to be destroying me in damage, even though I can be competitive in some facets, not all the way. Got a pretty awful tank positioning there. I don't know if they were quite through the portal by the time he started attacking. Sometimes he gets woken up a little fast. Y'all knew. I'm hoping I can catch up when he's at 350k DPS, and I'm slowly climbing at 280. Maybe when the ad comes out, I'll be able to get something. Too bad we used our lust on the last boss. It's not going to really help us. Except the mage got his free one there, but he's still only in the 100,000 range. Well, the warrior's killing 440k, and I'm at 250. Not quite where I wanted to be. I wanted to see if I could catch up to about 300 where he was, but thinking back on it now, I could have used that potion. You know, it's a 1-star potion. It's basically a 1-star dungeon. Nothing that's going to really stand out. But maybe overall we can catch up and maybe we'll win. See, you know, there's so many fireballs going on, you'd think that they would attribute to the mage's damage there, but even if they did, maybe I don't know, maybe he could catch up if that's the case. Pays to be the leader sometimes when it's your key and you can invite other people to join through and help out, but you know, this far in the season, it doesn't really matter too much. We just want to see what we can do in order to get up. Now, so far, if you haven't noticed, or I really haven't shown you all what's happening behind the scenes, but none of these are my key. These are all been somebody else's key. I'm really doing the ultimate pug in that regard, just trying to get through and get it all together for Keystone Hero. the true pug experience, which just leads to lots of times sitting in queue, waiting and waiting and waiting before you get denied because you're DPS like every other DPS out there. But you know, that's okay. Well, you know, if we have to get there when we get in the end, we'll do it. All right, the final result is, wow, 161k for the warrior there, and 156 for myself. Now I've replaced some of my PvP gear. I got a nice new set of wrists, some bracers in there. We're up to 461 item level, so that should be helpful in moving forward with this. Hopefully we'll get 470 in the coming episodes and be able to get up there and get some 18s or 20s done. Alright, and our next adventure is going to be a Black Rook Hold at an 11. Showing off my little tree there. I was trying to see if I could change anything to switch it up, but I figured I'd keep it all the same before I moved on to the next week and the next portion of the series. Same premise as the rest of the video. I'm going to get through the first couple packs here, just get some of our rotation down, and then we'll skip on into the boss to kind of wrap it all up, and then wrap up this week's fixes. So we're starting off with our tank here, who seems to have way too much damage, and we're competing with another Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest apparently has his tactics and his skills down, as he is doubling my damage at this time, and I feel like I am useless in this group, as Shadow Priest ended up with 307,000, the Paladin at 293,000, and me at like 0. So that was embarrassing. Maybe I can take some tips from this guy, see what happens. See, I'm catching up to him right now. Okay, maybe it was just a bad first pull for me. Maybe he used all his cooldowns. We're all kind of neck and neck here. I am a little on the lower side again, only 461. I don't remember what he was. I believe he was 470 something in this video. Probably farming up a couple extra crests. But I actually ended up passing him up here for a little bit, right until the end. I think his crits are hitting a little harder than mine, but we're about even, 148 to 151. Yep, he's 477, as we can see there, and I'm only 461. So, okay, maybe I'm doing a little better if I can keep up with him like that. We'll run through this first boss and see how we do in comparison. I do love a nice Blood Death Knight, but it would have been good to have another Demon Hunter just to get that extra magic damage debuff. Man, that would be amazing. Just help me out. And actually help all of us. So every single person here does some kind of magic damage. So I am actually the other priest in this scenario. I'm down in spot number 3 at the bottom of the DPS, and now the tank is beating me. Good, good. Maybe I should just stand in that and accept my fate as I'm dying. Almost had my dots fall off there, but I was able to get a quick Shadow Crash in. Sadly, I keep getting targeted with the mechanics here, and it's causing me to have to stop my channels. Not an excuse, but it's keeping me at about 100,000, so maybe this is where it shines. Maybe my AoE rotation's a little bit better in comparison to this solo stuff here. Now, I'm trying to use Dispersion to save myself from his attack, but it didn't even go off since we killed it so fast. Well, I ended at 101,000, the other Shadow Priest at 143,000, so he did definitely beat me on the single target. Let's see how we fare through the rest of the dungeon. Alright, getting our dance shoes ready. Hopefully we can make it through and not die from Lord Ravencrest here. You can see in the last pack I was at 145k, so it's catching up, but he's at 232, so the item level difference is definitely clear there. His damage is going to supersede mine, I would imagine, for the rest of this fight. We did good, dodging all that, no one got hit, staying out of our vines. And hopefully, see, I don't think we even have a lust here. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have a shaman that's present, but I think we're going to wait till he comes back up, which is when I would lust, like maybe here, as I power infusion myself, and hope for the best. We've got all of our heavy cooldowns going. I am on top just for a second. We'll have to see. Maybe he's going to lust after the first dance? I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe we'll never lust. Maybe with the Legacy of Ravencrest buff? No? Anybody want to lust? I guess we'll just long for lust forever. Although I was about to say I'm winning now, but then I got stung a little too much. You know, I think we could have actually done that if we had that lust going off. Now it's the dance party. Ooh, that is rough. Getting stuck in those vines in the dance party itself. I got saved there by my shield that gave me that little extra bit of a boost. Ooh, healer didn't make it. He's down. That's what you get for not lusting. Oh, there it is. Good, good. You die, and then you get up and lust for the last 4 seconds of the fight. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, about like 6 seconds. I was close. Well, I got beat out by 40,000 DPS. So the difference between a 461 item level priest and a 477 priest is about 40,000 damage per second. Good to know. Keep that in mind as we move forward throughout the rest of the series. Well, I don't want to slog on too much with these lower level dungeons. Looks like those are the last of our minuscule ones, our 10s and 11s that we understand the rotation. We now understand that we need to use our skills together. We understand the difference in idle level between 461 and 477, as evident by our last dungeon. But I think we're going to get there in due time. We're going to be able to get up there and get Keystone Hero. We're hopefully going to be a contributing member to each one of these parties as we move forward. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget the banner to the title for our page. Like we said, we're never going to ask you audibly to do any of that stuff. But if you're enjoying this stuff, we will be back at our regularly scheduled programming in the coming days. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.